I'm Kendall.
And I'm Mandy.
And we're
the Bookish Besties. So, today we're going to follow up from the clip from last time. And Mandy, which is me, I finished You. So, of course, quick recap, Kendall asked me to read You. It's kind of definitely a different kind of book than I've ever read before. I do romances, I don't do mystery thrillers. And remember, I will say this, the one thing I'm going to hit on right away is remember in the last clip when you told me Joe, the main character, would hate if I put the Mickey ears on there?
Yeah. Joe would die if he saw this right now.
The Mandy approval.
Joe would die if he saw this right now. Like, if you know, you know. Like, this would not go over well.
So I finally get that. I totally get why he would hate that. I get it. Everything in my personality about Joe would just absolutely repulse him, probably. So
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're probably
everything.
right.
I feel like I'm probably spoilers going forward.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of spoilers. So if you want to read You, I would wait, go read it, then come back and see what we think.
Be gone.
Be gone. My thoughts on it, right from the get-go. It was very interesting. I had creepy parts. I joked with my mom that I started out reading it and it was slow in the first couple of chapters because it was a lot. It's hard to get into a stalker's point of view in their head. And I got through about the first 7 chapters and I had to take a long break, not only for a couple other things happening, but it's just I just had a moment. It was just taking me a while to get into it. But I think back to when I was younger, there was a childhood friend of ours who jokingly said, we were all in the car talking about it. His brother was saying, I read it, I got to about page 40 and I didn't like it, so I stopped. And the kid leaned forward and said, page 40? He goes, you have to read at least to page 40. Nothing good happens before page 40. Everyone knows that. And so whether that's true or not, I've always believed that. And that rings so true with this book. There was finally at one point, really, when he starts going after Benji, I was like, I am in this to win it. This was awesome. It was very interesting getting in his head and the amount of times I would think, and I'd look at my husband as I was reading it and I would be like, I get him. I get why he's pissed at Beck. I get why he thinks she's being an idiot, and I get why he doesn't like Benji. Benji treats her like shit. And I get why he doesn't like Peach, because Peach is dramatic, and I get it all. And then I have to sit back and be like, but I guess you're not allowed to kidnap them and kill them. That would be a bad thing.
I was gonna ask, like, what relationship did you find more interesting? Like, Beck and her psychiatrist, Beck and Joe, or Beck and Peach? Like, what to you was like the most creepy?
All of Beck's relationships with men, creepy / unhealthy. None of it was good for her. Everything, and that's saying something. Everyone outside of Joe, when she was with Benji and when she was with Dr. Nikki, none of those are good for her because Benji treats her like crap and Dr. Nikki's married and her therapist. Like, how many lines can you cross? And she even admits it. She's like, I'm damaged. I'm like, then you acknowledge those things, but at the same time, Joe, you're the freak. I mean, he is. He kidnaps people and kills people, but she was not that free of sin to begin with. So her relationship with everyone outside of Joe is still not good for anybody. I also thought her friendship with Peach had some unhealthy aspects because Peach was obsessed with her too, just in a different way.
She just had more of a veteran status than Joe
she
did.
She just happened to be there, and it was one of those things, kind of like, okay, she's been there long term. She's my best friend. That's why I put up with these things. And I think we can attest we're best friends. 15 years. That level of obsession and manipulation, I hated it for Beck, and so that's why I kind of even related to Joe more. I think I'll say this, one of the creepiest parts about this book was at the very end, in my opinion, because he flips so fast. And and he goes from, major spoiler, he goes from kind of choking her and killing her, even though she's not dead yet, and he's panicking. Then he starts to realize, oh, she's lied to me about a bunch of stuff. She wakes up, she's not dead, she tries to fight him off. When he goes to choke her for real and he turns into complete rage, I still couldn't help but cheer to a degree. When he bites off and rips the paper and shoves it down her throat, I was like, holy crap. It was creepy. It was just weird enough that I was like, that's really, really cool. Really, really awesome. And then, of course, she's dead for real this time. And now he's sad again. Like, complete back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then, of course, he's mourning everything. And then those last couple of sentences when he just someone else walked in, boom, and he changes it just like that.
You're gonna really like laugh out loud over the question I had kept asking myself throughout the book. Is like, why is Beck so great?
She really
Like,
wasn't.
she really wasn't, and like it was.
He just honed in on her.
Well, no, but also for Peach to be obsessed with her, like, because with Joe, it's like, okay, Joe has a little bit of attachment problem,
Yeah.
But then when I realized that Peach wasn't just an overprotective, controlling friend, like Peach had that romantic obsession with her, I was like, what do they see in this chick? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Beck wasn't an amazing person. She lied to both of them about her father.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, in hindsight, that was like a really awful thing of me to ask, but at the same time, I'm like, why her? Like, and all of these multiple people, like, why does everyone think she's so great? And she's the first one to admit she's damaged goods.
And I think that's what made Joe weirdly more relatable, like, or more likable, in the sense of she's not all that great. So like when he's complaining about her, saying, well, half the stuff he says, but when he's complaining about her, saying, you hang out with Peach and you're this and you're that, you're like, yeah, all this is so true, Joe. You're just trying to help her. All you're trying to do is get her away from these crappy people, and say, and even how would you pronounce it? Chana, her the best friend, Lynn and Chana.
Chana, I think.
Lynn and Chana, sorry. So if I pronounced it wrong, I apologize. Even Lynn and Chana, from the get-go, I think were the only two people in this book, honestly, that I watched that had any sense. And that's saying something, considering, I think Lynn was kind of stupid at times. She's like, LOL. And they're like, drop Peach because she sucks. And if you like Joe, you should go after Joe. Now, of course, Joe's a stalker. So, I mean, I guess that's not all that it's cracked up to be. One of my questions for you in this book was, did you feel like more people should have picked up on his behavior? Do you feel like it was kind of odd that no one picked up on his creepy stalkerish behavior at all?
I didn't think that about her other friends. I wasn't surprised when Peach did, because there's always in your group of friends like the one that's like more alert and more observant than others. So when Peach did, I was like, okay, she's gonna be the one that like waves the red flag, like something's wrong here. I didn't initially expect it to be so redirected to what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
I thought like she was just, an overprotective friend that, was very generous with Beck. But I don't know, like, because Joe's running the bookstore.
Yeah.
So there's not really a lot of people there to monitor him. It's his employees. They're not really going to stand in his way. And then all he really has is the people he interacts with Beck. So I wasn't too surprised there weren't more red flags. I would really like to see more of Joe's backstory, because he does refer to how he comes from a broken household and things of that nature.
He did say that a lot.
And then he does talk about previous romances. So I'm honestly a little surprised that didn't come up more. I mean, it did at Peach's party.
Yeah.
Where a little bit, but it's just, while Joe may be good at what he does, I don't think he's perfect. So, and I have not read the second or third book. I've watched the second season, but considering how different the first season was, I'm not going to pretend like that's how the second book goes at all. But I would really like to see in the book series a little bit more of Joe's past and how he got to be where he is now. I don't know if that happens. So
So I'm interested in watching the TV show now. How much does it differ, though?
it does differ. The way major Netflix and book spoilers. So if we still have you somehow, like this is seriously where you gotta go.
More.
Yeah. The way Peach dies is completely different.
Oh, geez.
She makes a comment. You know, Joe starts jogging.
Yes.
Well, yeah. The runner's highlight.
Yeah.
But he doesn't kill her at the beach. What he does is, or no, he doesn't. He doesn't kill her at the beach like in the book. In the TV show, they're running around Central Park, and he does it that way. But she survives.
Okay.
She initially survives that, and like the whole Peach thing is very more drawn out in the TV show. In a good way though. I wasn't mad by the way Netflix did it, but like the jar of urine is a big concern too. Because I also didn't like that in the book, because in the book that happens, and you know, in the Netflix show, like that's how trouble starts getting to knock at Joe's door. But it's like, you know, how that just went unnoticed. Maybe that's a second book thing too. I don't know, but like that jar of urine is very important in the Netflix show, and it's not in the book. I mean, artistically, it felt very similar. There's not a lot of direct quotes. Like Joe and Beck have more inside jokes that aren't in the book. It's very much more gossip girly.
Well, and I guess one thing that probably differs as I'm thinking about it, is that since the book is written from just Joe's point of view, does the book segue from Joe's point of view, and do we like get other people's insight too?
You only get like Beck's insight for like 5 minutes of one episode, and it kind of has to do with her father. But that's really it, and that's what I liked about the Netflix show. Is it's a lot from Joe's point of view. He does like it is, you know, there's one where it's like, you know, it's a little different, but it's acceptable. And then there's like Harry Potter, which is vastly different in some areas, with like some characters aren't even shown in the movie. I would say this is a good mix. Like there is a lot that is different, but I feel like it's still, at least season 1, was respectful to the book. Nothing too crazy, but I thought it was entertaining still. I wasn't mad at it. So, I mean, Firefly Lane, don't get me started. That's a whole other episode that I will go on a rant about how horrible that was. But for this was good.
I have to say, and I apologize, I have them written down, but not in front of me. 2 quotes, and I'm going to say them, and I hope you remember them. And if you read the book, hopefully you like them too. Towards the beginning, he bitches about, he's like, at least she doesn't have like a 160-pound prima donna downstairs in her bookstore, and she thinks she has it bad. There's a quote where he talks about Benji, and I lost it. And then when him and Beck are having some romantic difficulties, and he's like, then you asked me to brunch. You want to know what's more sexless than dinner? Brunch, which a bunch of white women developed to go out and drink early and everything. And I lost it at that too, because I felt a little bit called out, because I like brunch. I think brunch can be a lot of fun.
2 quotes that I really liked. One was when Joe was reflecting on his own father, and he said his father's silences said more than anything. And I feel like that's kind of what we get with Joe. Like when he talks with Beck, it's very shallow, and he's trying to do something, and Beck's like, no, because that's what Beck's whole character is about. And when he's silent, and when he's like pursuing Peach and pursuing Dr. Nikki and stuff like that, that's where we see a lot more of his inner monologue, but it's silent because only Joe knows that. So I thought it was very funny that he criticized his father for that, but is doing it as well. And then another thing I liked is we talked about Beck's messy, you know, college kid, you know, whatever, you know. And like he referred to her as like a little piggy, and like at one point he was just like, but it's okay, little piggy, because I will pick up after you, stuff like that. And I was like, man, he has drank the Kool-Aid hard. So it was interesting, and that was pretty later on in the book. So it was interesting to see how even after everything he's done for Beck, because of Beck, he was still that obsessed with her.
I know last time Kendall said she gave it 4 out of 5. I'm also going to have to give it a really strong 4 out of 5. I'm a lot easier to please, so I could even push it to 5 out of 5 if I really wanted to. But overall, yes, I mean, a little bit slow at the beginning, but again, I also equate that to my understanding that this is not what I usually enjoy reading. And does it give you the warm and fuzzies like a romance does? No, of course not. But I gotta give major props. Major props to something we talked about. This book gives you a whole new perspective. Be prepared to feel weird and uncomfortable with the fact that you're agreeing with the character who's in the wrong. And that's because we're in his head. We have no other perspective. Our perspective is skewed because we believe what they're presenting us is true and he's wrong. So there were times you catch yourself being uncomfortable. So again, strong 4 out of 5, maybe even getting close to a 4.5. I thought it was very, very good. I know Kendall gets a gold star.
I did so
very good. If you're willing to go out of your romance range, all my romance friends, give it a shot. Take your time to read it. Get
It's
into
Mandy
it.
certified.
Mandy certified. It's romantic.
It's just not one of those creepy books Kendall reads. Even Mandy liked it.
Yes.
It's good.
You can get through this. It branches out, gives you a different perspective. So I would recommend reading it.
Yeah.
Next time, I'm going to convince Kendall to read one of my romantic books.
Oh, good.
So that'll be fun. So
Will it?
Yes, it's going to be so much fun. And when she comes back and gives it 5 out of 5 stars, I just can't wait.
This might age well. This might age well.
So we'll see y'all next time.
Bye. Bye.